Well, the story continues. I shared with you about how I accidentally got psychic, right? With the birth of Clarice, and how much that shifted my life. My whole life turned upside down from being pretty well situated as a lawyer, working from home and raising my babies, and being an active Catholic in my church, a liturgist, and yeah, my whole life really kind of turned upside down when I was accidentally a woo-woo person. And I want to talk to you today about the practice that made me feel not crazy. Because, yeah, my folks were concerned that I'd gone off my rocker. My husband had his doubts, probably on and off too. Everything had just changed so fast, right? And my worlds were sort of colliding in that I was getting these visitations from guides, from dead people, from spirits of all kinds, and it felt kind of chaotic. Well, what I really used, what was instrumental for me to learn how to leverage these spirit connections and not feel overtaken or crazy, the tool that I've used is shamanic drum journey. And shamanic is a problematic word because even most indigenous people don't use the word shamanic, but colloquially and in modern America, we've used it as a word to just describe like earth wisdom, like the kind of wisdom that is based in the earth, animals, nature, none of which used to be a thing a few hundred years ago. We were all quote unquote shamanic because we were all living by the light of the moon and in deep touch with the seasons and experiencing spirit in nature all the time. So I use that word with some concern, but let's just say drum journeying, because the drum, and I actually have my drum right here to kind of give you an idea. Thank goodness a teacher came into my life that taught me how to use the drum. And he was part Cherokee, and he taught my friend Alora too. And we had a little drum circle, and we used these frame drums. It's a circular animal skin drum. In this case, it's an elk skin. And drums and drum beat have been used in basically every culture, as a way to enter trance, as a way to attune the brain waves with a deeper state of meditative awareness, a visionary state, with trance, a gentle, easy trance. And the drum beat at about this speed, this tempo, you may even feel it as you're listening, has this immediate effect on our bodies and our brain waves to quiet the mind and to drop us into something more like a beta state brainwave, which is where we find it easier to go into our imagination, into our visionary aspect. It's a very light trance. It's not some drug, it's not some like strong medicine that's gonna take control. It's a drum, for crying out loud. And yet, when I learned how to utilize the drum beat and the power of my devotion and intention and my connection with my guides, that drum makes it so much easier to slip into that visionary state where the unseen becomes more real, more visible, more palpable. And then guess what? You stop the drums and you re-enter ordinary awareness. And so using the drum to journey was a wonderful tool for me to set aside time every day to, and it's still a tool I use every day, not always with the drum, because now I'm always connected. But it was such an important aspect for me because I could could put on the drumming CD, remember CDs, or I could work in tandem with a friend like a Laura who would beat the drum while I would journey, and I would beat the drum while she journeyed. But really, even a CD recording of a digital recording of a drum beat like that, it's enough of a support and an anchor to frame the time when I was entering visionary state. And I could go into journey in that way and talk to my guides and set my intentions and explore the information or the energy awareness or the systems that I wanted to explore for myself first. In fact, I remember going into journey one day. Laura and I went into journey together to ask for our names, because she said, I heard that when you have an awakening like this, you get a new name. And we were both so excited to go into journey and play the drums and go into this journey state and receive our new names. And her name at the time was Dana, and my name at the time was Lori. And you remember that story if you've been listening to this series. The very first episode, I talked about what happened to me when I was 7. But still, I went into journey and asked for my name. Well, first, Alora went into journey and she asked for her name. Guess what? They called her Alora, and she came out and she was crying. Oh my God, my name's Alora. It feels so resonant. I never really felt like a Dana. This is my proper name. And I was like, wow, Alora, that sounds like a spiritual name. It's beautiful and it's like kind of mystical. And I thought, I wonder what name they're gonna give me. Now, mind you, I'd kind of forgotten, there was a moment where I thought God called me Melissa, but I'd attached that to some little kid thing, some funny little thing where I was really into Melissa Ann Gilbert and Little House on the Prairie, so that must have been that. And I wasn't even thinking that Melissa was my spirit name, honestly. I went into this journey, I put the drums on, I went into this light trance, just expecting my guides to give me some cool spirit name like Moon Puppy or something. I didn't know. I was freaking Catholic. I wasn't like a woo-woo person. So I would just figure, well, this is going to be really wild and crazy. And I remember I went into my journey state with the help of the drum. And then I remember calling on my chief guide and saying, hey, and meeting with her, and she would always clear me off and give me a little healing. And then I said, okay, I'm ready to know my name. And she was like, okay. And then I remember stepping in front of what seemed like a council of my guides in my mind's eye and my trance vision. And they just started laughing. And they were like, you're Melissa. You're Melissa. And then they showed me that vision of what had happened when I was 7. And I was like, duh. Duh. I was like, here's a thing I probably didn't need to go into deep trance to remember. But anyways, that I came out and I told Alora, I'm like, my name is Melissa. And she was like, yeah, I know. Just like, I was the last one to figure it out. Anyways, in addition to learning how to, help myself and learn things and travel outside of my body using the drum journey, I also learned something about ways of healing other people while in that journey state. And I did a lot of that. In fact, that was my main quote unquote business offering for, 2001 to 2014. That's what I did for those 13 years. And yeah, and I did the healings, long distance, mostly healings, because I was living part-time at Harbin. And later, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I just want you to know, I used this tool of drum journeying to do my work. And I paid my mortgage doing that, and I supported my family doing that, and I traveled the world while doing that. And back then, I think I charged people paid me like $185 for a distance healing clearing, and that was in the early aughts, you know, so I guess that was a long time ago. So doing distance healings became so easy because of the protocol of using the drum. I could drop into that deep state. I could effectuate the healing, the clearing, and it all happens and still happens when I give someone a clearing through these metaphors, these almost like a movie plays out in my vision, and the movie, when I describe it back to the person that I'm working for, makes sense to them. So it's sometimes really their images that come through when I'm doing healing in journey for another person. I remember one time I did a clearing, a long distance clearing for this guy. And most of my clients at that time came through referrals. People got really great benefits from these clearings. And I always checked in with them afterwards because I think the lawyer in me is still shocked that the shit works. But I would check in, and for a while, for years, I did an unofficial study checking in. And I discovered that I had more than a 98% success rate with these long distance journey clearings. And recently it's even more so. I haven't had any that people reported, you know, no effect with, and I've never had someone who was like, you messed me up, you know, it's never happened. Just pretty cool. Anyways, I remember once this guy wanted a session with me because a friend of his had one and had good effect. And this guy, I could tell he was a business guy. I could tell he was really straight-laced. And I can't remember if I talked to him on the phone or if he just emailed me his intentions, because it was like that. People would just email me their intentions and PayPal me the $185, and I would do the journey and email them back a written report of what happened. And that's what I did for this guy. The images that I got in his journey were like circus clowns and fanciful animals wearing silly clothes and like all these wacky images. And I thought, oh my God, this guy is gonna think I'm a total nut job. Like he probably already does, but now when I send him this report, he is going to think I am completely off my noodle. I was seriously holding my breath because you never know. I don't know these people. I sent him the report, and I pinged him like I did. How did it go? How does it land with you? You know, does it resonate? He wrote me back and he's like, how did you know? How did you know that I've always had a thing with clowns and circus and animals wearing clothes? I was like, oh, thank God. It's like, so this is just one story that's happened a bunch of times that people, oh my gosh, the images that come through in journey when I'm journeying for someone else are their images. They're their stories. I might not even know exactly what they mean, but when I deliver them to the person, they make sense. And what's really amazing, especially to my lawyer self, is they never feel the same, like they never feel the same again. So doing work in journey can be really, really powerful. And it's like it can we can access deep, deep healing for ourselves and for others in that journey state. When the intention is right and when it's in the highest good, wow, we can access powerful, permanent healing of things like habits and relationship patterns that keep repeating, and sometimes physical healing. I'm not gonna lie. I had one lady whose big giant tumor disappeared after one of these sessions with me. Freaked me out because I never know. It's not really me doing it. It's me being used as a channel of the genius that flows through. And I'm not saying that to negate my responsibility. That's why I check in with people after their sessions. Because if If they didn't get any goodness, I don't think they should have to pay. But they do get goodness every single time. Which to me is like, well, it used to seem miraculous, and now it just seems like, well, why not? You know, we can all access these deep states, and the drum is a powerful tool. And this is why I don't do medicines. I'm not saying they're bad. I think lots of people benefit from medicine, plant work, or whatever, but I'm like, maybe I'm just lazy, because beating a drum is so much easier. And it activates my own chemicals inside my brain, I suppose. And you know, there's no hangover. Anyways, I just wanted to introduce you to Drum Journey because, yeah, it was so instrumental, pun intended, to my entire waking up period for especially the 5 years from like 2000 when I accidentally got psychic till 2005 when I really embraced my full path. I would go into Journey, talk to my guides, and they would train me. They would help open my channel. They would show me what I needed to know. They would give me messages for people who asked me to get them for them. They would help clear and heal. And I would follow directions and also use my own discernment and protocol and integrity as the instrument. So that's a little bit about drum journeying. And I've got some students who are asking me to train them in drum journey this year, and I think I will. So if that's something that you want to train in, how to use the drum, first for yourself and in community, and then how to utilize it as a healer, as a support person, as an oracle for other people. I'm gonna do that this year. I'm gonna do that. So you're hopefully on my email list. Take the quiz, soulgiftquiz.com. If you're not getting my emails, take it again. Soulgiftquiz.com, SOUL, giftquiz.com, so that you'll get put on notice for that, because that'll include some retreats, because the stuff has to be transmitted in person on the land. That's how it works easiest. That's how I've had really good luck training people in drum journey and channeling in these sorts of quote unquote shamanic earth wisdom arts, is when we're on the land together. The land's a participant just as spirit is. So I hope this has been inspirational, and we'll continue with stories from the road of my awakening ongoing. All right, see you next time.